Welcome to another video series. In this one, we're going to actually have some multiple videos on the W-4 form. As July 15th is nearing, we're working on several individual tax returns, and the number one issue, again, and this is I think 5 years in a row, people are not withholding enough taxes from their W-2s. And this is the W-4 form, so when you get hired from your employer will ask you to complete this. And what this form does is it tells your employer's payroll company how much taxes should be withheld from each of your payroll checks. So that's why this form is very important. And then at the end of the year, you get a W-2 form, and that W-2 form is what's used on the tax return. Now, just say you got hired, 4 years ago, you filled out this form. You can go to your employer and have them update it, and you can tell them, the numbers and line items that need to be updated. And you could do this multiple times during the year. So just because you got hired, 6 months ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and you completed this form, doesn't mean that you don't, you can't change it. You can. And that's the beauty of it. So just say you have a child or another life-changing event, you can go in and kind of withhold more money or withhold less money. So that's the whole point of this W-4 form, and that's why it's critical. And we encourage everyone, if you see these videos, is to go to your employer and make sure you filled out this form correctly. So again, we want to keep these videos very short and to the point. So in this one, we're going to focus on the top portion here. So step one, you're going to complete your name, address, and how you're filing your tax return. Step two, this is very important. So you got three options to select from. You can use the IRS new withholding estimator, which is at this website here, and it's going to look like this. Very easy to do. It's going to ask you a bunch of questions, and at the end, it's going to tell you how much to withhold. Okay, and you can use that number and you put it on this form, and we'll show you in a different video. The next option here is to, if there's two people in the household where there's different earnings, where you and your spouse get different W-2s at the end of the year, there's another calculation that you can do, and that's on this form later on down, and we'll show that to you in another video. The easiest is if both of you and your spouse both make the same amount of money, you can just check this box. So just say both of you each earn $200,000 a year, so a total of $400,000 a year. You can just check this box, and you're basically done. You'll want to complete step three, which we'll cover later. But by doing that, what you're telling your employer, in essence, what you're telling your employer's payroll company is your household is actually earning $400,000 a year, which means more taxes need to be withheld. But just say you never checked this box, or you didn't fill out anything else on this form, your employer is just going to withhold $200,000, what you made at this company, and that's it. But in reality, more taxes should be withheld because your household income is higher, which means you're in a different tax bracket. So that's very important, and we think that we haven't seen, a lot of our clients' W-4 forms, but we think that that's what's happening, and that's what's driving up the tax liability at the end of the year, because your W-2s, you're not having enough tax being withheld because your household income is a lot higher, but you're not telling your employer that there's other household income that's coming in. So just make sure that you revisit this step number two. And again, you can change your W-4 form multiple times a year at your employer, but this is key, this step here. Now, in an additional video, we'll show you, step A and step B and, the rest of this form. But the rest of the form, you can see here, it's just one page. And then this other page here relates to, if you decide to go down using step A or step B. So hopefully this helps, but again, this W-4 form is the trigger to your W-2, and the W-2 is used on your tax return, okay? And based on how much tax you have withheld on your W-2 is going to determine whether you're going to get that refund or you're going to owe taxes at the end of the year.